Hey everybody, today we're going to take a look at my top 10 most notable election results of 2024. I couldn't quite think of the right way to put it. They're not necessarily upsets, they're not all shocking, but these are the ones that struck me as notable. Now here's what's included. This is going to be for President, Senate, Governor, and in the U.S. House. And it's not necessarily completely in order of least to most notable, but it is totally subjective. You're going to have your own list and your own criteria. So most of these are going to be in the U.S. House, because from my point of view, that's where I was a little bit more surprised. So let's go to number 10 here and let's go to Colorado. Let's look at the 8th Congressional District. And this district is only a couple of years old. Colorado just gained this after redistricting. And it's not that huge. It's located north of Denver. And the winner of this district was Gabe Evans, the Republican. He flipped it from freshman Yadira Caravale. And although I predicted that Evans would actually win this is one of the ones I thought I was most likely to be wrong on. So it was kind of a shot in the dark, but it looks like it paid off. Evans wins it, and the Republicans actually have a pickup here in a relatively blue state. And this district has an even Cook PVI rating, so this could become a new bellwether. It also has a relatively large share of Hispanic voters, and we all know they moved toward the right in the election. So I think there's a lot of notability here in this result. Next, let's go to California. And we've got the 45th district here, where Derek Tran has taken out Michelle Steele, the incumbent Republican. It was extremely close, less than a quarter point, but I would have guessed Michelle Steele would have been able to hang on for another term. I thought she kind of cemented herself in at this point. She survived some previous elections. But this is an Orange County district, and Democrats have technically made some progress there in recent elections. And this district has a very ugly shape, in my opinion. But I thought Steele was going to hold on. You could also point out Mike Garcia in the 27th. That's another one I'm a little bit surprised by. So we're going to say number 9 here is Steele going down to Tran. Number 8 is going to be Washington's 3rd. And this is in the southwest part of the state. And it was a rematch between Marie Gluesenkamp Perez and Joe Kent. Kent is very much a part of the Trump brand. He was able to finish ahead of an incumbent Republican a couple of years ago in that top 2 primary. But I guess he is viewed as a little bit too controversial, while Gluesenkamp Perez is a little bit more mainstream and a little moderate. I thought Trump would have been able to pull Kent over the line with the higher turnout. And this is somewhat of a red-leaning district as well. So I guess at this point, there's just no room for Kent to be able to win that seat. It remains to be seen how vulnerable Perez is going to be against a more mainstream type of Republican. But this one I thought was somewhat surprising, somewhat notable. Let's go to number 7. We've got Texas's 34th district. This is all the way in the southern part of the state. This has Brownsville. And Vicente Gonzalez, the incumbent Democrat, defeated Mayra Flores in a rematch. But the level of movement in South Texas and from Hispanics toward Trump, that's what I think stands out here. I did not think Flores would have gotten that close. She did briefly serve in Congress when she won a special election not too long ago. But after redistricting, she got placed in this much bluer district. And Gonzalez held on, but he's definitely not in that strong of a position. If those trends at all continue, Republicans are going to be looking to pick up another seat here. Certainly, if they were able to redraw the map at this point, all they would have to do is make it just a little bit redder, and they might be able to flip it. You can see in Cameron County here, which has most of the population, it was almost a perfect 50-50 split. There's a lot going on here in South Texas. I think this district kind of sums it up for me, and we'll have to see if Flores tries to run again or if she decides to move on. Now, next up, I also included the governors on this list, and there wasn't really anything overly notable or shocking here. Maybe you say Phil Scott's landslide win there in Vermont, but I did decide to throw in North Carolina here. This was not surprising at all that Josh Stein won, but the 15-point margin is kind of notable. Trump won it at the top of the ticket for president, but there was so much crossover vote that voted against Robinson and for Stein. And you just don't really see this kind of a margin in technically a purple or even right-leaning state in many respects. So this is one of the high points for Democrats in this election. Robinson turned out to be an absolute dud, but a good portion of that is going to be his own doing. He was just way too controversial for that seat. Stein, I don't think is exciting, but voters were looking for somebody a little bit more level-headed. So it's a total blowout here in the Tar Heel state, and I think that is pretty notable. Let's go to number 5, and it's going to be in Ohio. And this is the 9th district. And Marcy Kaptur, the Democrat, held on here against Derek Merritt. It was extremely close by less than 1 point. Maybe the Libertarian candidate played a role, maybe not. Now, this district is a little bit red-leaning, but after Republicans wiped out here in the last election against Kaptur, a stronger candidate like Derek Merritt might have been able to take down Kaptur. Turns out she held on. She's been in there forever, and it's impressive to see her do it, even when Trump won the state very comfortably at the top. The good news for Republicans here is if Kaptur ever retires, then there's a good chance this seat could flip. But the potentially even better news for Republicans is the congressional map is going to have to be redrawn yet again. That's because last time Democrats did not provide any support for the map, and after a bunch of court battles and ballot measures, there's going to be yet another new map in this state. Now that could go either way. They might be looking at this result and think about tweaking it just a little bit to give them a bigger advantage. On the other hand, depending on what they come up with, and after a bunch of legal challenges, maybe Capter pulls it out yet again. So you got to give credit where it's due, and Capter has done it so many times before. Let's go to number 4. We're going to stick to the U.S. House, and we're going to go to Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Now, this was a tight one, about a half a point here, where Jared Golden held on against Austin Terrio. Golden is a blue dog, moderate Democrat. Trump almost won his district by 10 points, but he still held on here in the House. I actually thought Golden would have held on by a wider margin. I thought he kind of just crafted the right brand for that unique district. So this close of a margin was kind of surprising for me. Now I think that Golden is actually completely vulnerable depending on the environment. He could easily run for governor or for the Senate. And if he does, it would seem like this is going to be kind of like the Ohio seat with Marcy Kaptur. Republicans should stand a pretty good chance to flip this seat. But for now, it's going to be Golden holding on yet again, and we're going to have to see what he does politically in the future. Number 3 is going to be in Pennsylvania. And this is the 7th Congressional District. And this is in the eastern part of the state, north of the suburban Philadelphia counties. It covers Allentown, and incumbent Democrat Susan Wild was defeated by Republican Ryan McKenzie by about 1%. It's not a complete upset, but I thought that Susan Wild was going to be able to hold on here. It is a district that Republicans can compete in, and it's again apparent that given the demographics, the environment was just more conducive here for the GOP. And at a glance, given Republicans flipped this seat as well as the Matt Cartwright district, which is just north of this, you think they would have had a pretty good night across the U.S. But if they were unable to flip these two seats, it would not have been a great night for them. So you never know what's going to happen in each election. And Republicans getting 2 here in Pennsylvania, as well as that seat in Colorado, that took the pressure off of them to be able to hold seats in other states. So the Cartwright seat, which is in the 8th district, that one is notable, but I think this one is a little bit more notable for me. I did predict that Cartwright would finally go down. So let's go down to number 2. We're actually going to keep it in the same state, but we're going to move it up to the U.S. Senate. Not many upsets nationally, but if there is going to be one, it's going to have to be this seat here where Bob Casey was defeated by Dave McCormick. This was the last race to be called. It kind of went on a while, and it's less than a quarter point here for McCormick. He did not win Erie County, but he was able to win Northampton. So it's a slightly different coalition than the one Trump won the state with. But after 3 terms in the Senate, I thought Bob Casey had kind of cemented himself in. His family name is highly notable in this state, and I guess I took it for granted that Casey was just going to cruise to another term. I didn't think he would win in any kind of a landslide. I thought McCormick would probably lose by a couple of points, but I do give McCormick a lot of credit on running a far better campaign than I anticipated a year ago. He seems to have run one of the better races out of everything, and this is a major pickup here for the Republicans. It gives them a little bit extra cushion in the next Congress. The other nearby states of Michigan and Wisconsin, they had narrow margins in their Senate races as well, but they were held onto by the incumbent Dems. The fact that this is the only extra one to flip after Ohio, Montana, and West Virginia, this by far makes this the most notable. Now, the number 1 most notable result here is not really going to be a surprise. We're going to go all the way up to president, and we're going to go all the way east to the Garden State and look at New Jersey. This is probably number 1 for pretty much everybody. You could also consider New York, maybe even Illinois, also Texas and Florida, a lot redder than most people expected. But New Jersey, only 52% here for Harris, Trump at 46.1. That exceeds my best case scenario for Trump in this state. Even though I thought New Jersey was more likely to get under 10 points than some other deep blue states, the 6-point win, technically even 5.9, that really blows me away. And again, a lot of that is going to be because of the Hispanic support shifting to the right. That's true for a lot of this top 10. But Republicans picked up no other seats in the U.S. House here. However, there is going to be an election for governor coming up. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at that. I'm not expecting this kind of a margin next time or for these shifts to continue. This could just be a one-off and it goes hard back to the left, or it could kind of hover around here for a little while and never get any redder. But I could be wrong again, and somehow the state does get even redder way quicker than I thought. Trump even flipped Passaic County. That is extremely impressive stuff. So New Jersey provided the biggest bombshell of the 2024 election. That's across all different levels. And just like in every election, there seems to be some state that delivers something nobody expected. Turns out this year it's going to be in Jersey. So that's what I've got for my top 10 most notable, kind of shocking, or surprising 2024 results. A lot of good stuff here. I'm sure you can make a case for plenty of different races. But this is kind of what stood out to me, so let me know in the comments what's 1 or 2, maybe 3 notable election results for you in this 2024 election. I'm sure you agree with New Jersey, but what about in the Senate? Maybe governor was shocking for you. How about a bunch of those U.S. House races? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.